Hey everybody, I'm Mike Naso from Internet Partnership Radio and podweather.com with the latest on the tropics. It is July 22nd, 2010, and we do have the third tropical depression of the 2010 Atlantic hurricane season, and it's poised to become a tropical storm later today or tonight. If it does so, it will be named Tropical Storm Bonnie. Now here's the latest Atlantic Basin satellite in the visible, and you can clearly see our system here. We've been tracking it for days now, and it's just south of most of the central Bahamas and to the west of the Turks and Caicos, and it's in the general vicinity here just north of the Cuban coast, moving on west-northwest, which should take it towards the Florida Straits and the Florida Keys, with an eventual landfall somewhere here between, say, anywhere between, say, Beaumont, Texas, and the upper Texas coast, and areas of the Mississippi coastline, most likely right now the mid-coast of Louisiana, but anything can happen. It's still far out with this system. You can see we also have this system in the Bay of Campeche, which was looking more interesting this morning, but is moving into land fast. If a circulation does develop, it could briefly become a tropical depression or storm, but the impact won't be all that different from what it is right now, which is just heavy rainfall and high swells there along the Mexican coast. But a lot of Western Gulf activity this year. Let's just hope Texas doesn't get another Hurricane Carla come September. But let's talk about our depression here sitting in the area here just south of the Bahamas. This is Tropical Depression 3, and as of 11 a.m. Eastern Time, Tropical Depression 3 was at 21.9 north, 75.0 west. Winds were 35, gusting to 45 miles per hour, so it should become a tropical storm. The Air Force is on its way out there to see if it is one right now, which it could be, as it looks to be getting a bit better organized. Moving west-northwest at 14, but it's expected to increase in speed as the high pressure builds in here come Saturday night and eventually slide its way here into Louisiana or Texas. However, again, anybody who lives from, say, New Orleans all the way down to Port O'Connor should be on the alert in case this system comes your way. Right now, if I were in areas from Galveston to Morgan City, that would likely be the area of most concern. But we got to deal with Florida first. And if you're in areas of, say, Andros Island, you can't even rule out a direct landfall. But at this point, the system's so ill-defined that you're probably going to get heavy rain regardless of even if it tracked well to your south or north. Right now, it looks like it's going to cross very close to Key West sometime Friday afternoon. So we have a good 24 hours to get prepared there. And keep in mind, in the Florida Keys, they're at a very low elevation. There's only one road going in or out. Trust me, I've been there. And believe it or not, even a system as weak as this is likely to be could cause some dangerous conditions. So you have to be prepared just in case. Quickly on the model guidance, the track here is expected to be straightforward. A lot of the models are further to the south because they initialize it just north of Haiti. The system center is actually further to the north and west. Therefore, the consensus here is taking it into Louisiana after crossing the Keys. It's going to be a busy weekend here at IPR and for anybody who tracks the tropics. And if you live along the coastlines of southeast Florida and the Keys or the Louisiana upper Texas coast, you guys should be busy getting prepared. Again, right now the current motion would keep it just north of Cuba towards Texas, but it is expected to eventually curve a little bit more towards the north. Now, the latest visible satellite of our system at this hour does show that it appears to be getting a bit better organized. You can see at the end there, we do have a little bit of a convective blow-up. If I could get it to stop right there, you can see right there, there's a convective blow-up right to the north and east of the center. And it's still rather lopsided and small, but this pattern here, you get to see a little bit more fanning out on the western side, and that's an indication that maybe the shear's letting up a bit. But if you look over areas of, say, Guantanamo Bay, see these clouds moving? These clouds are moving to the north and east, and that is from the upper level low to the west of the system, shearing it. Now I can show you that even better on the shear charts here. There is the upper level low, currently centered near Grand Bahama Island, and what this is basically doing is it's creating wind shear up and around and into the system. So the center of the system's down here, and it's getting sheared. If it were a little bit further to the east, the system would be in a much better environment for strengthening. However, as this moves to the west-northwest, that upper low should eventually retrograde to the west and that would allow for our system to come up and get a little bit stronger as time goes on. And that's what we're going to be looking at over the next several days. Now, our invest in the Bay of Campeche, you can see here the model guidance, keeping it generally towards Tampico, the center of Mexico here, and it's going to move inland, say, in anywhere from 18 to 30 hours, depending on if a center did develop, but it's already a good bit onshore, and you can see the latest satellite imagery of our system right there. You can see as the visible comes up, no real sign of a circulation. If there was one, it would probably be somewhere in here, which would give it a little bit of time to try and become a storm. And again, the next two names are Bonnie and Colin, and we'll wait and see if this could become a storm, but right now I think the odds are slim given it's so close to land. But yeah, if it wasn't close to land, we'd be dealing with another Alex, because that's a very favorable looking tropical disturbance. Again, the general thinking with the wind shear right now for that system is that it's low, so if it does want to develop, it has an opportunity. The only inhibitor is how long it has over water. You can see the shear where our system is favorable on the east side, but it's not so favorable on the west, but it is decreasing. So as it moves into the Gulf, TD3 and or Bonnie will have a much better environment for intensification. Before I leave you this afternoon, I just wanted to say here is the latest satellite imagery of our two systems. There's Invest 98L moving into Mexico. Could briefly become a depression or a tropical storm, but right now that's only about 50% likely. Our 100% likely system is now a depression. That is TD3, forecast to become tropical storm Bonnie, slides south of Andros, near Key West, and then eventually up towards the Louisiana-Texas coastline by the time the work week rolls around. So if you do have preparations to start overlooking, just keep an eye very carefully. We do have those warnings out for portions of Florida and the Bahamas. Right now, gusty winds, high swells, and definitely some heavy rain with this tropical system as it continues to move towards land. This will make landfall in the United States. We know that already. So I'm Mike Naso from IPR365.com with the latest on TD3. Stay tuned. We'll have more throughout the next several days as this system moves towards the Gulf Coast.